Hello everyone, this is Susanna from Hold It Right There Sewing Patterns. Welcome back to my video tutorial series for my sewing pattern, the Zuma Sling. To make the Zuma Sling, you will need to purchase the sewing pattern available on my website, linked below. In this last video in the series, I will walk you through the steps for creating the gusset and finishing your Zuma Sling by binding the seams. So grab your instructions and follow along with me now on page 9, step 41. Locate your double pull zipper. Measure and cut so that the total length of the double pull zipper is 26 inches. Baste over the zipper teeth at the left and the right zipper ends to prevent the pulls from falling off the zipper teeth while sewing. Fold the zipper in half, matching short side to determine its center. Use your fabric pen to mark the zipper center above and below the teeth on the right side of the zipper tape. Locate both upper gusset K pieces. Measure and mark across the center from short side to short side. Fold in half, wrong sides together, matching the short side edges. Mark the right side centers with your fabric pen where creased with a 1/2 inch line. Divide the upper gusset K pieces in half by cutting along the long center markings. Each segment now measures 2¼ inches by 26 inches. Place the zipper right side up on the right side of upper gusset K fabric 2, or the lining side fabric. Match the center markings and pin or clip in place. Sew using an 1/8 inch seam allowance. Now, right sides together, place the upper gusset K fabric 1 or exterior side on top of the zipper. Again, match the center markings and pin or clip in place. Sew using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Press the upper gusset K right sides of fabric out, away from the zipper. Top stitch 1/8 inch from the sewn folded edge. Sew the opposite side of the upper gusset in this exact same way. So repeat steps 46 and 47 with the remaining fabric 1 and fabric 2 K pieces. What we're going to do next is trim the long raw edges of the prepared upper gusset so that the height is 4 inches. I've centered the zipper of my upper gusset on my cutting mat, and then I've kept it in place with low tack painter's tape just to keep it from shifting as I'm cutting the upper gusset so that it's 4 inches in height. And I will be trimming an equal amount on both sides, both raw long edges of the upper gusset. With your upper gusset now measuring 4 inches by 26, based around the outer edges, and then mark the centers on the long outside edges. Then you can set aside the upper gusset for now. Locate both lower gusset L pieces. Use your fabric pen to mark the centers on the long outside edges. Then set aside the lower gusset fabric 2 or lining side for now. Place the lower gusset L fabric 1, the exterior side, wrong side up. Center and glue the 3 inch by 6 inch ultra firm stabilizer. Then allow this to dry before moving on to the next step. Pin or clip the fabric 1 or the exterior side of the upper gusset to the right side of the lower gusset L fabric 1 exterior side. And you are clipping them together, or pinning them together along one of the 4 inch sides. Baste using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Pin or clip the right side of the lower gusset L fabric 2, the lining side, to the fabric 2 or lining side upper gusset along the 4 inch side. Sew using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. For a tighter fitting gusset, increase to a 5/8 inch seam allowance. Repeat steps 49 and 50 with the remaining 4-inch sides to join the upper and lower gussets. Turn the gusset right side out. Top stitch 1/8 inch below both seams joining the upper and lower gusset. Using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, baste both raw edges of the lower gusset. Locate the assembled front and back panels and place them exterior side up. Use your pen to mark the left and right sides of both panels 3 inches above the bottom edge. Right sides together match the center markings on the exterior front with the exterior gusset. Pin or clip together. Match the seam on the gusset to the markings on the sides of the exterior front and pin or clip in place. Matching the top and bottom center markings and the side markings with the seams are 4 anchor points. You will need to pin or clip the straight side edges, but the curved corners will not meet and will not be sewn in this step. Using a 3/8 inch seam allowance, sew the straight top, bottom, and sides. You will not sew the curved areas in this step. Move the zipper pull out of the way as needed on the front exterior pocket for sewing the gusset to the panel. Continue sewing the remaining sides of the panel to the gusset with the 5/8 inch seam allowance. We're now going to cut small snips into the gusset to ease it around the curves. At each of the 4 curves, I am making scant 1/4 inch snips, staying out of the seam allowance. Then pin or clip the gusset around the curved edge. Repeat with the remaining 3 corners, making small snips in the gusset, easing it around the curves, and then pinning or clipping it in place. Sew around each of the 4 curved corners using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. If you have a stiletto tool, I recommend getting it out to use for this step. It will help to keep the gusset in place while you're sewing around each of the 4 curves. Unzip the gusset and then repeat steps 55 and 56 with the exterior back and the remaining side of the gusset. With the front and back panels attached to the gusset, you will now need your double fold 1/2 inch bias tape. Keep the bag lining side facing out for the next steps. Unfold the bias tape and fold over one short end of the bias tape, approximately 3/4 of an inch. Place the raw edge of the bias tape along the raw edge of the gusset. I recommend beginning along a straight edge of the gusset. Pin or clip the bias tape all the way around the gusset. Overlap the bias tape approximately 1.5 inches, and then cut the bias tape and pin or clip it in place. Sew using a scant 3/8 inch seam allowance. Once again, a stiletto tool is very helpful for this step. It will help to keep the bias tape in place as you're sewing it. Wrap the bias tape over top of the raw edge of the gusset. Turn the bias tape raw edge under. Pin or clip in place. The raw edges of the gusset and the bag panels are now encased in the bias tape. Sew the remaining side of the bias tape to the bag panel 1/8 inch from the folded edge. And once again, using a stiletto tool will be very helpful for this step. Repeat steps 57 through 59 with the remaining side of the gusset. The raw edges of the gusset and bag panels will be completely encased in the bias tape when you are through. We are now going to join the wing pieces together in step 60. Working from the lining side of the bag, pin or clip the wings together, matching the long finished edges. Use an 1/8 inch seam allowance to sew the wings along the long finished edges. Be sure to backstitch at the beginning and the end to reinforce. Turn the bag right side out through the open zipper of the upper gusset. Gently push out the curved corners. Connect the swivel hook on the webbing to one of the D-rings. Congratulations, you are finished making your Zuma Sling. I hope you enjoyed the sewing pattern, and if so, please like and subscribe, and check out my website for other sewing patterns. Thanks for watching. Happy sewing!